what's up? I'm Brian here doing another video for you guys, and this time we're going to be talking about a Transformers Legacy reveal. So, someone decided to review a Transformer toy early, and this is going to be our first look at the figure itself. This is the Transformers Generations Legacy Leader Class Blitzwing. Now, when I heard about Leader Class, I'm hoping that it's in the same vein as the Astro Train. When I heard about them doing a Leader Class Astro Train, I was like, yeah, bigger Astro Train, that's cool. And when we saw it compared to some of the other figures, we knew that it was going to be Voyager height, and I was a little disappointed by that, but then I got the figure, and I gotta say, it's well worth the price. I like the accessories that it includes, and I think the engineering definitely deserves that later price point over a Voyager. Although a Voyager would have been okay, I didn't really like that Titans Returns toy, so if they need to do it to make it so much better and look as accurate as it does, with all those textures and details, I'm totally fine with it. So, taking that into consideration, how did they do with the Blitzwing? Well, let's start off with the alt modes. So, this does come from a reviewer, but I'm using the images as a reference, so I want to make that clear. Let's take a look at the alt mode. This is the jet form. Now, with triple changers, there's always going to be compromises. And, you know, you're going to have tank kibble or jet kibble in some form in either of the alt modes, whether they're integrated better than some other parts, it's just going to happen. And it's the same thing here with the Blitzwing. You've got the tank kibble at the bottom there. With the parts that are directly under the wings, that doesn't look too bad. It's the treads that I don't like. It's just way too much. It's something else that's hanging off it entirely. It feels like it's supposed to disconnect and transform into the tank itself. Like, it just kind of compacts, and then when it dislocates, it comes up like this. Like, I don't know. I'm just thinking of, like, a gimmick for a toy. That might be something, but it doesn't really pull off too well here. But the jet itself, what is purple and the wings and whatnot, does look pretty clean for the most part. I do like the shape of the wings. I like how clean they look. I like how slick the design is. I even like the little tail fins, even if they do look a little small. That's totally fine. The nose cone, I will say, does look a little short, but that might benefit into one of the other modes. And I like the color. I like the specific color of purple. I think it does look nice. And I also like the fact that it comes with two guns, so you can have it on both sides. Assuming it comes with two guns and you didn't just have two guns with them. But if it does, then that looks pretty cool, because that means that underneath the wings it's going to look, you know, the same. So, yeah, I do like that. For the most part, again, it's the tank kibble at the bottom. Just doesn't really work for me. But again, there's going to be compromises. With the tank mode, there's a lot less compromises, which I actually wasn't expecting. I thought that the tank mode would have more compromises than the jet. Although you will see that the cockpit is on the front there, and it is kind of weird that they decide to put a fake transparent cockpit on the other side. Although I think that's just for the robot mode. I could be mistaken on that. But that is actually something that was accurate to, I believe, the cartoon model. You can see something sticking out at the front there. And a lot of people argue with that. I will say that I'm still not really a fan of the look overall, but I think the rest of the tank mode has got me. I mean, I like how clean the sides are. I love the turret and all the textures and the details in that. The turret itself does look very nice, and I'm hoping that it does use blast effects, because that'd be pretty nice. You could also plug stuff onto the sides of the tank, and It is mentioned that the extra weapons that do look weird, we'll talk about that in a second, do attach to the tank turret, and it looks weird, and I'm not a fan of it. I don't think I'll ever display it with that, but it is an option that you can throw in. And I like how the jet mode, it has the majority of purple, but in tank mode, it's completely taken over with the tan color scheme, so I do like that. Yeah, you can see the head at the front, but it's not going to be a perfect alt mode. And then taking a look at the robot mode. Now, this is where everything seems to come together. I do find it funny that on the wings, those are fake pieces that aren't really used for any of the alt modes, but disregarding that, this does look fantastic. I do feel like there's something off about the helmet, though. I can't really pinpoint exactly what it is, but everything else does look pretty good. Now, there is a panel that does fold over the chest, which does look kind of weird, because when you flip it up, it feels like you don't necessarily need that. But what I will say is it does clean it up, and it feels like you do need it for some of the other alt modes, so I do kind of understand that. The weapons look pretty cool. Yeah, the sword does look small, but I think that's fair. The gun, looks fair as well. And he's also got some other additional weapons. We'll take a look at that in a second. I do like the feet and how they're made from the turbines. That's pretty cool. And you do see the wings at the front. I believe you can fold them back if you want as an option, so that's nice. And I also really do like how the wings themselves for the jet mode wrap around the back of the legs. That reminds me of something that a third-party company would do. I think the colors are right. I think the shoulders are weird because you're not really going to get that much movement going backwards because of the kibble that's on the back there, which I think the kibble looks fair, honestly. Some people don't like it. I think it's okay. But going forward, all you have is that flap that moves open on the shoulder itself. So you're not going to get that much motion in the shoulder, which is a little unfortunate. But aside from that, I think that he's going to look good next to Astro Train. And I will honestly say that he does look a lot better to me compared to the Titans Returns toy. Now, I like the Titans Returns toy, but this one just cleans it up. It makes it look more like it's from the cartoon. Now, another thing that I wanted to mention was some people are saying that the next figure, the Triple Changer, is going to be Octane, and that's very likely because, they've done Astro Train, they've done Blitzwing. Let's go ahead and go through Octane, or Octone, whatever his name was. But I'm also going to mention that maybe the next one is going to be an Autobot because I think people forget we also had Springer in the Siege line. So it would make sense to me if we got maybe a Sandstorm or a Broadside next. I would like to see that, especially if Broadside is going into the leader class because I do not like that Titans Returns Broadside so much. But that's just something that I wanted to quickly mention. And going back to the weapons that I keep talking about, he also has these hand glove things, these Hellboy glove things that kind of remind me of some of the Energon Combiner hands. And this is like the accessory that came with Astro Train, this giant box thing that's mostly just, I guess, to bump up the price because it's not exactly a Voyager class price point for this figure with all the engineering and everything going on, but it's not enough to satisfy the leader budget, so they decide, oh, we're going to throw in a couple of things. It is just a weird thing. I don't really know if I necessarily need it. Maybe it could work with some other figures, but just for Blitzwing, I don't know. I don't think it really works out. Also, I want to mention that some people are disappointed that he does not have the triple change face. And I gotta say, that's something that came from animated more so than anything else. It's not really something that was from the original Generation 1 Blitzwing. It might have been cool to include, but there is already a Generations Blitzwing that does that. Also, speaking of which, I know I mentioned about the shoulders, but at least it's not like that thrilling 30 Blitzwing, so that's already a plus. But, yeah, I think this looks okay if you're into it, but I don't really need it. I mean, I've got the 6 gun and the Chromar. You could pretty much do the same thing with those figures. And then also I wanted to show off the comparison with Astro Train. So yes, he is going to be the same size as Astro Train without the feet inclusion. So he's going to be a little bit smaller than Megatron. But I'm okay with that because I was blown away with the Astro Train and the Blitzwing does look pretty cool. Again, there's compromises with some of the alt modes and some things in the robot mode I'm not a huge fan of, and I don't really care for the hand fist weapon things. But aside from that, yeah, I'm into it. I want it. So with that out of the way, what do you guys think? Please comment below. Let me know. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and all those fun doodads. And I will see you guys next time.
AllSpark TV. Now that's just prime.